the numbers are tough to digest. There's no dividend, okay? Organic revenue down 40%. But are you seeing a bounce back? And if so, where? And are you able to price firmly into this bounce back?
Yeah, we see a strong bounce back in our Chinese domestic advertising business, both in subways as well as in airports, where audiences are almost back to pre-COVID level. I mean, in Shanghai Metro, for example, during lockdown, the audience went down to less than 1 million versus 12 million pre-COVID. And now we're at about 11 million of eyeballs that we are delivering every day. So our revenues are almost back to pre-COVID level. And in the airport advertising business, domestically, in the Q4 of last year, we were up 15%. So a double-digit rebound in our domestic Chinese advertising revenues, excluding Hong Kong. So that's the good news. What is also important to note is that during the pandemic, for example, in the UK, where we have the Tesco supermarket advertising franchise, the audience declined by only 5%. So 95% of pre-COVID shoppers were still shopping at Tesco during the lockdown and during the pandemic. And we were at 93% of pre-COVID revenue level in our Tesco advertising franchise. So it's very clear that our revenues are linked to the audience. And let's remember that pre-COVID, JCDecaux, being the world's largest outdoor advertising company, used to deliver 800 million eyeballs every day. Mm-hmm. Our audience dropped by more than 500 million. So more than 60% of the 800 million disappeared because of lockdowns and other mobility restrictions.
Of course.
So if you consider that we declined... Yeah, sorry?
Well, Mr. Decaux, that's the good news, China coming back to pre-COVID levels for your business. But where is the bad news in the sense that what markets are still really, you are struggling to get that recovery underway?
UK, US, the major centers in being London and New York, where a lot of people are not back to the office, are still working from home. And as a result of that, the city audiences are far from being back at pre-COVID level, either because of lockdown or because many corporations have not asked their people to come back to the office. For example, our office in the Empire State Building in New York, only 9% of the total population, working population in that building, which is back to the office, only 9%. So 90% of the people who used to work in the Empire State Building are still working from home. As a result of that, we are delivering less eyeballs on Fifth Avenue, which is our flagship advertising street in the world. London is the same. Oxford Street is far from being back to pre-COVID level. We are at about 30% audience. Network rail traffic is very, very low. So UK, US are among the most affected, again, because of this lockdown, especially in the UK. But if you take Germany, which did better than other markets last year, Germany is also this year in Q1 much worse than it was last year because of the lockdown that has been decided by the government.
Jean-Francois, everybody talks about reopening and getting back to normal. We're not going back to where we were in 2019. For JCDecaux, what is the evolution? Is this, Manus, I need less billboards. Manus, I'm going to give up sites. What is the structural change and consequence of COVID for your business? How are you going to move forward?
Well, if you can take the example of China, take the example of Tesco, as soon as audiences return, our revenues are coming back. Let's not forget that pre-COVID, outdoor advertising was the second fastest growth media after mobile advertising. So what we're doing right now is that we are renegotiating most of our transport agreements as well as street furniture agreements. I mean, airports, more than 90% of our airports have agreed to waive the minimum guarantee payments, and most of them have agreed extension as well. So the first action that we took was to renegotiate the contracts in order to adjust the terms and conditions to the fact that there were much less eyeballs due to restrictions decided by local, regional, or national governments. Now, in terms of structural change, we are preparing ourselves still to the world of programmatic. Programmatic is now about 2/3 of online advertising, which is about 55% of advertising spent. It's about $100 billion, and only a few $1 million are being traded programmatically in out-of-home media. We launched about 2 years ago a platform, a supply-side platform called View, which is now live in 14 markets. We are the most connected trading platform with about 20 DSPs already transacting with JCDecaux inventory around the globe. So the good news is that programmatic is going to change the face of the media landscape, and we are very well advanced. We didn't do any cost cutting on that front, because we believe that being able to deliver not only reach and frequency, which is outdoors USP, but also being able to deliver targeted messages is the future for our industry. So on that basis.
The targeted messages seem very important. You're talking about less eyeballs in the streets because people are still at home. I think of, as you say, Oxford Street, Times Square. People just aren't there. Also, when people are in the street more and more often, they're not looking up, they're looking down at their phones. Is the idea of expensive billboards, is that at some point going to die?
I don't think so, Anne-Marie. And as a matter of fact, we have a lot of examples, including, for example, a recent Nespresso campaign, which combined online and mobile advertising and outdoor advertising, which did very well. And in the cities where out-of-home was alongside online advertising, sales went up. And it's proven that people who have seen an ad on a billboard or on a bus shelter are more likely to go on the internet and to search for the products that they have seen on one of our billboards or bus shelters. So I'm very confident that we will be back to pre-COVID advertising revenues in a foreseeable future. As soon as lockdowns are totally lifted, I'm very, very confident. What is going to be slow to recover, obviously, is international air traffic. That will take more time. But it's only less than 10% of our total revenues.